When's your quiz? Tomorrow.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? Wait, oh my God.
Also, a reminder that the quiz is going to be no calculator. What? Well, before you freak out, that can also be a good thing. It probably is a good thing because that means that the numbers have to be more user friendly. Now, yeah, like if you don't know your times tables, you're gonna struggle. Yeah. But like somebody last period asked me, oh, are there gonna be fractions on the quiz? Well, no. First of all, there's gonna be that whole little assignment on fractions that I gave you that was due on Sunday. That was just me giving it to you. That was supplemental. That was not part of the regular curriculum. I just like to start every year with that. So there's not gonna be like problems that are just fractions, but within the realm of what we are working on, which in this case is polynomials, yeah, I guess there could be fractions, right? But if there's not going to be a calculator, the chances are not very likely. Elizabeth, can you take that off?
Yes, sir.
Muchas gracias. All right, so like I told you, I want to start every class by checking out the homework help. I'm still looking at week 1 because the week 1 assignment is still due tonight. So let's see, third period, no replies. Today's a review day. Look, today we're going to review for the quiz. The difference is if you leave it to me, now I'm the one controlling the review. Whereas if you want me to review for the first time that I can remember last night, the emails, well, I still did get emails about Khan Academy, but besides just Khan Academy, I started to get emails about, hey, I don't know, I'm having trouble with adding and subtracting polynomials to 2 variables. Or I'm still not understanding polynomials. Like for the first time, okay. Well, if the resources that are available to you, like on Khan Academy, the videos, the hints, if that's not working, post it. Take a screenshot. If you don't know how to take a screenshot with your device, come after school, come before school. I'll help you with it. It's not going to post itself. Let's check week 2. Period 3. No replies. All you got to do is click reply. Click on the thread first. Reply. Once you do a reply, depending some devices, when you take a screenshot, it saves it. If it saves it, you'd have to insert it, and you would go over here where it says insert stuff. And if your device copies the screenshot to like the clipboard, then you would copy and paste. No? Any questions on that? I would advise you as far as the syllabus thing goes, I'm not going to go over it today. I want to just review, so I'm not going to go over that, but I would advise you to take a look at the grade book. Because at this point, I'm up to date. There were a couple people that I added this morning, so their 100 won't show up until tomorrow. But anybody that I have confirmed on Remind 101 already has the 100. If you have a 0 or if you have a blank, then that means I don't have a confirmation from you. And you have until the end of the week to get that done. If you yourself wanted to join our class, this is the class code. I put this up here if you want to write it down, if you want to, and get annoying messages from me. So, if there's nothing else, this is where we left off, right? On the notes? All right, well, let's start off here anyways. We already multiplied a binomial with a binomial, right? That part we were able to get through? Okay. So what am I multiplying here?
4x.
A binomial times a trinomial. And just like all the other expressions that we've simplified, if there's a parenthesis, when you simplify, you want to remove the parentheses first. Parentheses, bad. Let's get rid of it. But how you remove the parentheses depends on the type of polynomials you're given. What did I say I was going to call these? I'm going to call it FOIL. When I'm multiplying any two polynomials that have two or more terms, anything that's binomial and above, we'll call it FOIL. On the notes, the people that made these notes called this box method. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that terminology, but it sounds fancy. So I'll just call it FOIL. I think we talked about this. When you FOIL, not including combining like terms, we'll worry about that next, but just the foiling part, how many terms should you end up with?
Six.
Well, in this case, it's going to be 6, but you don't always end up with 6. But in this case, it's going to be 6. How'd you get that 6?
2 times 3.
2 times 3. Multiply the amount of terms. If it's a binomial with a binomial, 2 times 2, you end up with 4. If it's a binomial with a trinomial, 2 times 3 is going to be 6. The next one coming up is a trie with a trie. How many are you going to end up with there?
6.
You know what? I haven't even taken attendance. Let me take attendance. Wait, I did take attendance. Sorry. Lorna.
Yeah.
How many?
9.
9. Yeah. Now, whether you call it FOIL, whether you call it box method, what are you doing? You're just distributing repeatedly. So what is the first term in the first parentheses? 4x, and I'm going to get that term and I'm going to distribute it to every term in the other parentheses. So, okay, and today I'm not drawing any arrows. 4x times 2x squared is 8x cubed. 2 times 4 is 8. X times xx is xxx, also known as x to the third. What is now 4x times negative 5x?
Negative 20x
Squared, good. Negative because positive times negative is negative. 4 times 5 is 20. X times x is x squared. Ashley, what is 4x times 3?
12.
It is good. Now I am done with the 4x. Sorry that I'm doing this verbally and not showing to you. If I drop this down, it's going to show everything. So I'm starting it off verbally, then I'll show it to you. What's the next term I'm going to distribute? 9, which makes life easy because we always prefer to distribute constants. It's hopefully less likely that you make a mistake with a variable. Raquel, what's 9 times 2x squared? It's less likely that you make a mistake with the variable, so 9 times 2 is 18. So what comes after the 18? You just said 18. Squared. 18x squared. Yeah, Brian, right?
Is the quiz multiple choice?
No. And even if it was, like if you don't show work, you're not gonna get credit. So I could give you the answers if you don't show the work, it's not gonna count. Elijah, what's 9 times negative 5x? Okay, well said. And then finally 9 times 3 is 27. We said we were gonna end up with 6 terms. Coda was right. Coda's usually right.
Me too.
Okay, now if you've been paying attention not only yesterday but last week, there's a couple tips here that can help keep you on track. First,
Combine like term.
yes, that's what we would. Okay. Yes, what are we gonna do next? As Julia said, we're gonna combine like terms. Now, yesterday I gave you a hint that said, assuming that the original polynomials are in standard form, which they are, they're going from biggest exponent to least. That doesn't mean that you have to have like terms. You might not end up with like terms, but if you are going to have like terms, they should be located somewhere in the middle. And in this case, they are. The like terms are 8x to the third is just going to drop. 27 is just going to drop. There's nothing like it. Another thing that could help you is last week. Oh, I got all last week seems like forever ago, right? We talked about the maximum amount of terms that any polynomial can have. Who remembers that? Who remembers what are the most amount?
3.
5.
What are the most amount of terms that any polynomial can have?
7.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
4. 3.
Nobody last year remember this one either. It was too long ago. Sam, I see you thinking. You definitely got a thinking face on. Walker, you know? Yeah. 1 more than the degree. Whatever the degree is, plus 1. So what degree is this polynomial? 6.
4.
This polynomial is third degree, also known as cubic. And those will show up on the quiz tomorrow. Right? The good news is not that it's multiple choice, but at least those there's no work for. We just have to name the polynomial. So this is a cubic polynomial, which is third degree. So 3 plus 1 is 4. When I am done simplifying, I should have no more than 4 terms. I could have 3 terms. I could have 2. I could have 1. I guess technically I could have 0. If everything cancels out, who knows? Maybe you could end up with 0. But you cannot have more than 4. Currently, how many do I have? 6. So something has to be like. And there it is. Look, it's inside the blue box. 8x to the third just drops. What is negative 20 plus 18? Negative 2. Negative 2 of what? Negative 2x squared. 12 minus 45 is? Oh, I need a calculator. Negative 33. Since the 45 is bigger, you keep the sign of the 45, which is negative. And that's it.
So that's 4th degree.
I'm sorry?
That's 4th degree.
That is not 4th degree.
That's cubic.
That is still cubic. But look perfect. Let's try to kill as many birds as we can with one stone, right? What have we done here already? We multiplied. We combine like terms. Those are skills that you need for tomorrow. And then the only other skill that you would need is knowing how to name polynomials. So if you were to give this polynomial a name, well, we already know it's cubic. We know the adjective. But a cubic what? You get anything more than 3 terms, you just can call it a polynomial. But let's be more specific. Cubic polynomial of? How many terms does it have?
3. Polynomial.
How many terms do you see there?
4.
4. So this is a cubic polynomial of 4 terms. If it only had 3 terms, like let's pretend like the 27 would have maybe canceled out or something, then it would be a cubic trinomial. Let's say that like the 27 and the x squares would have canceled out. It would still be cubic because the third degree is the biggest one, but it would be a cubic binomial. Here, watch, let's get crazy. Let's say that the x to the third would have somehow canceled out. Then it would be a?
Trinomial.
Well, not only would it be a trinomial, but now the adjective changes. It's no longer cubic.
Squares.
They're all in the notes. Has a name. Mimi, you know the name?
Quadratic.
Second is quadratic. Thank you. Quadratic trinomial.
I said
Okay, madam. I really hope you get those right. Because, I mean, not only in level of difficulty, time. So, I don't know, let's just throw a number out there. And let's say that there's 18 problems on the quiz tomorrow, which don't get mad at me. That's I didn't make the quiz. It's an Algebra 1 thing. So let's just pretend that there's 18 problems, and I don't know, let's just throw it out there. Let's say 6 of those say to name the polynomial. not only should those 6 be freebies, like as far as difficulty, time-wise also. I mean, those are gonna save you time. Because in a 52-minute period, 18 is quite a bit, but if 6 of those take you 10 seconds each, it's not really an 18 question quiz, it's really a 12 question quiz. Anywho, all right, let's do one more on this slide, and then the rest of the review will consist of doing problems from the Khan Academy assignment. The way I want to tackle this one is I want you to do it. I'll give you a few minutes before I review. I will remind you though that on a 3x3 foil, on a trinomial times a trinomial, on the first step, if you're doing it properly, how many terms should you get?
9.
9. So I'll give you a head start before I catch up. They call me the distraction killer. Okay, so here we go. There's the first step, which was foiling. If you were being proactive and being an active participant, you can now look down at your paper and look up at my screen, then look down at your paper, and look up at my screen, then look down at your paper, look back up a few times, and compare each of the terms to see if there's anything different. And if there is anything different, that's when you would say, hey, Mr. Romero, I have no idea how you got negative 12y to the third. And then we can go and examine that. This expression has gotten pretty long now, because currently we do have those 9 terms. So to make it easier on your eyes, what was the first term in the first parentheses? Y squared. So out of these 9 terms, which one came about by distributing the y squared? Those first 3 to the left of that blue line. That's what came from distributing just y squared. Look at your paper, look at my board. What was the second term I distributed? Negative 2y. What came about by distributing that negative 2y? These middle 3 terms. And then lastly, what was the last term that I distributed?
5.
A 5. And by distributing the 5, I got the last 3. So are there any questions on that step? Karis, anything? What degree polynomial is this? Yeah, Sam? It is 4th degree. So therefore, at most, maximum, what are the most amount of terms I can end up with?
5.
5. I got 9 right now, so there's got to be something I can do. I can't end up with more than 5. I can end up with less. You never know. Maybe something cancels out. You could end up with less than 5. You just can't end up with more than 5. Where are the like terms located? Really in the middle. The 6y to the 4th is going to drop. Nothing is like it. The 5 all the way to the right is going to drop. There's nothing like it. I told you guys to do this one on your own, so I can just now show you that last line. And again, if you're not sure how I got any one of them, instead of just writing down blindly what's on the board, if you were ahead of me, you can now say, hey, how'd you get 37y squared? I don't know. I got 36. I don't know the difference. That would actually be a very common mistake. Let's see if we can think critically here. Assuming somebody did this on their own without my assistance, why do you think it would be a very common mistake to, instead of putting 37y squared, to put 36y squared? What do you think that person might have done wrong? Suna?
I'm gonna add the y to like that.
Say it better. You might know what you're talking about, but say it better.
Like there's a 1 in front of that y, and like they can add it.
The y squared.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. The y squared. Some people forget that in front of, when you don't see a coefficient, that there's a 1 in front. Is that what you were going to say, Julius?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions there? Okay. So what I'd like to do next is, no questions? All right. For the rest of the period, I'm going to pick problems from the assignment, and I'm going to throw them up on the board, and I'm going to call you one by one in order to do them. I'll actually do the first one so you see how it looks. And then I'll randomly call some people up to the board, and you can show off your skills. So if I call you up to the board, the first thing I want you to do, because it's hard to see, click this pencil on the bottom left. Click the red, not only because of Brookwood, but I think red offers the highest contrast, so you can see it better. Okay, and you're only allowed to write here where, I don't know if you can see, there's like a little bit of a grid. So you gotta write on the grid. Just write the problem bigger. So this says x plus 1 times, huh? Nah. Times x minus 6. So now everybody can see it. Then you would go ahead and just do it on your own. And then we can see if you did it right. So like x times x is x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. Then plus 1x, which is just plus x. And then minus 6 combined like terms. X squared minus 5x minus 6. Then I will do you the favor of entering it in for you, so that we can hear the happy music. The chime. My second period doesn't like the chime. I found in the past kids love that because they're like scared, oh, I'm gonna get it wrong, I'm gonna get it wrong, I'm gonna get it wrong, and then when they hear the chime, they get happy. Yay. Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
So like terms, right? Negative 6. So you said x2 is nothing like negative 6, therefore you can't combine those two.
Okay. Think of like terms. Think of the variables as being like a unit, like inches, feet, gallons, pints. Okay. So the variables have to match. Like the same way, so if I was counting oranges, I would want to match oranges with oranges, and apples with apples, or feet with feet, or inches with inches. So right here, let me, so that you can follow along at home if you go back and watch this. Once you remove parentheses, on this line right here, I have 4 terms. This is where we start to combine like terms. Okay. The first term, the unit, is an x squared. This is saying that I have one single x squared. And if you're going to combine that with any other term, it also has to have an x squared. But there are no other x squares in the blue box. That's why that just dropped down. The next term is has an x. How many x's? Negative 6 of the x's. I know in real life it's impossible to have a negative, but for the purposes of algebra you can. So we have negative 6 x's. Since the term right after that, and even if they were next to it, even if they were separated, that's fine. If anywhere inside this expression there was another x, which like there is here, those can be combined. This x has a 1 in front. So I'm going to keep the x. Nothing's going to happen to the, when you combine like terms, nothing happens to the variable. The same thing, nothing, like if I say, oh, hey, look, I just stepped 3 feet and then I took another 9 feet. You know, I didn't walk 12 feet squared, I just walked 12 feet. I just added them, the feet stayed the same. So the x's stayed the same, and it's just that negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. Then once we got to the constant, since negative 6 was the only constant, that also just dropped. Just to have a confusion based on it.
No, I get it now.
Okay, well, we'll do a few more of these. Come on, Raquel.
Oh.
Not good. Ashley, you want to help out?
No.
No? These are the ones you want to do because these are the most basic ones. No? Tell me your name again. Asia. Oh, the rest of you. Go ahead, Elijah. He's the smart one. These are the basic ones. Bryce is cheering you on, so you know. Yeah, write it bigger first on the side. Like right next to it so that people can see it going somewhere right. Okay, go ahead. It's all you. Yeah, you don't even have to talk or anything. Like I'll take care of all the talking. You just work it out. Make sure you show your steps. If on tomorrow's quiz, if you get the right answer, but you do not have the work, it will be wrong. So just pretend like this was a quiz tomorrow. I mean, you gave me the answer. I want the steps. It looks like you're skipping a step. What's x times 5? So that's what should come next. So write plus 5x. No, hit the back arrow so you can undo. Undo again. Undo again. Undo. Okay, keep on. Undo it again. No, right there, right there. Okay, now x squared. Shh. This is why I don't like having people at the board. I've never been a big fan of it. I'm just trying it out this year, but if we talk too much, it's gonna stop, and you can hear my voice the whole period. No, why you love the 3 so much? Look, x times x is x squared. Okay, x times 5 is 5x. You put 5x. Okay, negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and then negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Okay. Now, what do we do next?
5x.
Good. And that, yes, that happens to be plus 3x. No, but you gotta drop down the ones first. Okay. And then what comes at the end? Minus 10. Okay, just drop the pen in the socket here.
Is this your board?
Like I bought it, you think? No, this is a part of the classroom. Yes, ma'am. 5 minus 2 is 2. The negative 10 came from multiplying negative 2 times 5. The negative 10 doesn't have an x, that just dropped down. Now, if you were paying attention instead of talking while he was working, you might have noticed something interesting, which is that I had to cue him to write both steps. There are two steps here. What's the first step?
To distribute.
Remove parentheses, which we didn't call it distribute, we called it FOIL. Okay, remove parentheses and combine like term. Now it looked like he was about to give me the right answer. I don't know if he would have or if he wouldn't, but he looked like he was going to give me the right answer. I am telling you right now explicitly. On the problems that require multiple steps, if it requires more than one step, they need to be there. I'm going to expect the same thing that was shown of you. And if after the fact, when you get it wrong, if all you can say for yourself is, I did it in my head, I'm going to mark it wrong. I do not want to be the arbiter of, oh, this person knows it, this person doesn't know it. Like, if you know how to do it, show it on the paper. Because what I would never want is, let's say that, since they're buddies, let's say Elijah and Bryce both do the same thing. Here's the problem. Then they only were to write x squared plus 3x minus 10. I'm not going to say, hey, you know what? Elijah knows what he's doing. I'm going to give him credit, but then Bryce, no, I don't think Bryce knows. And then mark it wrong for him. I'm not going to do that. So in order to be objective across the board, you got to show any steps. Any and all steps have to be there. Okay. All right. Nuha? Oh man, I gotta really find out if I can give you guys participation grades. Man, I gotta figure out how we can do that. That's not good. Nah, that's not embarrassing. It's not embarrassing. It's embarrassing if you don't know. If you do know what you're doing, it's not embarrassing. Especially like when you actually look at this one. How many steps are here?
4.
How many steps? Just one. Like there's no work to do here. This is just identification. I'm sorry. What was your Cody? Right, Cody. Cody. Shh. Cody. What is the degree of the polynomial? I'll write it bigger for you. I'll write it bigger for you. Yeah, you know I'll do this one. You don't have to work this one out. This says 6x squared plus 7x to the third plus 8x to the fifth plus 9. What's the degree?
4.
Julius? 5, yeah, it's a fifth degree. If this also happened to ask you, this is not asking you, but if it asked you to write in standard form, it would be 8x to the fifth plus 7x to the third plus 6x squared plus 9. Here, let's just do this one together. Which polynomial is in standard form?
C.
And it says choose all that apply.
AC.
A and C only. A polynomial of the fifth degree with a leading coefficient of 7.
Always B.
Yeah. Leading coefficient means all the way up. A binomial, which is fourth degree and has a leading coefficient of -2. Wait, but for C, -2 is not on in front. But since the -2 is in front of, since the -2, come on. No, we don't want to write. This thing won't let me write. But since the -2 is in front of the 4, even though it's not all the way to the left, that makes the -2 the leading coefficient, and it's a binomial, which means how many terms? 2. And that's the really happy music. Karis, you want to do this one? No? If you guys don't do well on the quiz tomorrow, don't. Those of you that are turning me down, don't complain. Oh, but I don't get things. I'm giving you a chance. Whatever. Let's just. I'm gonna be waiting here all day asking people. Anybody want to volunteer? Go ahead, do this.
I got that.
Hey, Cassie. I think it's easier to read the real small one that.
It started going off. I couldn't write it.
So that says in the first parentheses negative 8y squared minus 9y. Then it says plus.
That's gonna erase everything.
Even though for him it looks like an H. It says plus, and then the second parentheses is 8y to the third plus 9y squared minus 2y. Go ahead, just go. It's fine. All right, so let's see. He did everything except for drop the pen. So he distributed the 1, so he got negative 8y squared minus 9y plus 8y to the third plus 9y squared minus 2y. Then when he combined, first he dropped down the 8y cubed, that's correct. Then negative 8y squared plus 9y squared is positive y squared, that's good. And then, yeah, negative 9 minus 2 is negative 11, so very good. Okay, so we got that. Good job, Julius. Okay, I need another volunteer then. Will, you want to do this? Oh, come on, let's go. Maho. This might be the first, depending on whether or not you've done the assignment, this might be the first time you've seen this. Here, hold on. Okay, I'm going to try to Let's try right here. Try to almost touch it with the. Let's see, get around space. Right here. Forget about writing it again. Let's just let's do this. I'll write it here. Julius, you paying attention? Yeah. No. No, this just means that this can only be combined with d to the third f to the third. So the only one that's like it is the same one that we're working on here. So you're only going to be able to combine it over here with negative 5 d to the third f. So negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. So the next line should say negative d to the third f to the third. I think this class is going to have to be all Romero all the time.
No.
Yes.
I got like I did that word like
You did good, Julius. Alright, hold on. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, so she removed the parentheses. First one looks the same. That's good. Second one, everyone change sign. That's good. Okay, now hold on one second because we haven't really done this, so I just want to make sure we're done. What's different about this problem than some of the other ones you've seen?
That's really long.
No, we've seen subtraction. Yeah, Walker?
It has like the 8, like it has the 8e3 and then it has the 1.
What's different about this one than the rest of them? Yes.
You have to flip this on.
Thank you. It literally says it. Sorry, I cut you off. It literally says it on the screen. 2 variables. These have 2 variables. We've seen 1 variable. These have 2. When you have 2 variables, the whole standard form thing becomes less important. You don't have to worry as much about standard form when there's 2 variables. So what I would do is keep it just in the order they gave it to you, right? So the first thing they had was d to the third. Okay. If you look at the d to the thirds, how many terms here have a d to the third? And actually, no, it should be 2. It should be 2. This was that plus shouldn't be there. So the question is, what is negative 7 minus 8?
Negative 15.
Negative 15. Maham, negative 15 of what? Okay, that stays the same. Okay, what came next? The d to the third f to the thirds. Cody? If this d to the third f to the third has a negative 5 in front, and this one has a negative 4, so actually that might have been wrong on your side. Negative and negative.
Negative 9.
Yeah, it stays negative. Yeah, negative 9. D to the third, f to the third. And then finally, and it looks like this was also a mistake. That this plus should not have been here. That should have just been f to the third. Because all that happened was that this just dropped. What is negative 3 minus 2? What is negative 3 minus 2? It's negative 5. Negative 5 of what? F to the third. Okay, we'll do one more that I'll do for you, just to speed it up. Here, let's do this one. This will be the last one. Two minus 5y. What's a little bit different here? That the first polynomial is not written in standard form. That's fine, but just be a little careful when it comes to combining like terms. First, I'm going to distribute the 2, so I have 2y squared plus 12y plus 18. I'm done with the 2. Next, what am I going to distribute? Negative 5y, so I get negative 5y to the third minus 30y squared minus 45y. If you don't understand how I got any of those, let me know. All I did was multiply negative 5y times everything in the other parentheses. Now, the biggest exponent is the y to the third. There's only one of them. So negative 5y to the third. Then come the y squares. There's 2 of them. 2 minus 30 is negative 28. Keep the y squared. Now the y's. 12 minus 45. Is that negative 33? Y. And then finally plus 18. What degree polynomial is this?
3.
3. The most I can have are 4 terms, and that's what I have. Are there any questions there? All right, you guys can sign out then.